Okay, so that CR-V has lots of competition to take on, and we in fact showed you two of those vehicles on the program last week. Spiced things up with some CNB exclusives, didn't we? Now, one of them is the BMW X1. It's the updated avatar, but the other one is the all-new V40 Cross Country from Volvo that's just rolling out across global markets. We get it in just a few weeks' time. I know a lot of you reacted to those vehicles, but let's get back to that X1 because the market launch, well, that happened this week, and we've got details like prices, etc. So if you missed that story last week, here's a quick recap on what's new on the new X1. Here it is, the brand new, updated and facelifted BMW X1. Last week we showed you the German spec S-Drive 20D. That's the 4-cylinder 2-litre diesel. And like I told you last week, it is the only engine that we will be getting on the upgrade here in India as well. Now, when BMW launched the X1 in India at the end of 2010, it was an instant hit. The car offered pretty much everything that people were looking for. A step into the BMW brand, but at a price point starting from 22 lakh rupees. After that massive initial sales rush though, in 2012, the X1 has started to slow down and rivals have also started to flood in, which is why a refresh is pretty important at this stage for the company. You've got to look a little bit closely just to try and understand what's really changed about the X1, because at first glance, you're not going to pick it up. However, superficial changes, that's pretty much what a facelift entails, and so that's what you're pretty much getting as well. It's here, it's a nice mature looking headlamp cluster compared to what you used to get. The LED treatment inside for the daytime running lights has changed a little bit as well, and it's more akin, if you will, to the X3, so slightly bolder face up front. In fact, that's pretty much true of the overall styling up front. Now, the X1 did already have the new look in terms of having the large grille, but the headlamp cluster certainly looks a little bit more upmarket. Along the side flanks, you pretty much see the same thing. However, here you get a little bit of an extra. There is the inbuilt integrated indicator that's been added in. Now, most other cars which try and go crossover, they try and add all these plastic elements. Now, on the X1, that's actually gone down just a little bit. We managed to get this car a little bit muddy, but that's of course what the car is all about. However, we're still not going to get the X-Drive, so no four-wheel drive. It's going to remain the S-Drive as far as India is concerned. At the back too, you can't really pick up on any big changes except that the tail light treatment has been refreshed and looks a little bit stylish as compared to before. And given the fact that this is the entry car for BMW buyers in India, for people who want to step into this brand, looking a little bit upmarket certainly helps. The car looks bigger and sexier now, and yes, like I told you last week, more like its sibling, the X3. The new headlights in particular are pretty bold and exciting. There are two trim lines in addition to a base variant, the X line and the Sport line, which offer some embellishments like the silver finish grille on this X line car that's dressed in the new Valencia orange color. But the big change is the new 8-speed gearbox that BMW has brought in, and that is unlike the car that I drove in Munich, which was a 6-speed manual. BMW has done away with the petrol and chosen to plonk in just this one engine that we pretty much had earlier too, but it's good to see that the gearbox has gone modern with the Steptronic. The good news though is that this is a car that was known for its fairly sporty driving dynamic. It's something that held it in good stead in global markets as well, and in India too. But of course, remember that that also means that it still remains very much a user-oriented, a driver-oriented vehicle. And so there aren't really too many changes at the back. Though of course, there will be a little bit more of an upmarket or a plush feel for those who do want to sit at the back. The car is then still quite fun and athletic. BMW has tweaked the suspension settings as well. It's a lot more comfort oriented now and not too stiff. It's too bad that BMW won't bring in the X-Drive or the all-wheel drive version even now. Prices have in fact been revised significantly enough. No more base petrol variant as we told you, so it's no longer close to the old 22 lakh entry price point. Prices now start at 27 lakh 90,000 rupees for the base grade and go to 32.5 lakh rupees for the Sport and X-Line grades. That means the X1 is now almost at par with the Audi Q3 on price, except the Q3 has Quattro. Now, when BMW first launched the X1 in India in 2010, psychologically that price point of 22 lakh rupees seemed really attractive, but from what the company tells us, not too many people actually bought that petrol variant, and so it was really the diesel engine that did well. Having said that, overall the positioning has moved up. It's become more premium, and I know that's going to be the number one question that all of you are going to write in and ask me, so I'm going to try and preempt that by answering it for you. Now, what BMW is trying to do is saying that, look, this is a premium product. We don't want to try and be cheap in any sense. We don't want to try and be inexpensive, and the volumes that it wanted to get with that big bang launch, it's achieved that. Now, don't forget that you had the corporate edition 3 Series, which then moved up, became once again just the new 3 Series, higher priced, and the X1 drove into that particular spot. The X1 has now moved up, and so that spot gets freed up once again, and I reckon it will be occupied by the 1 Series, of course, which also arrives sometime this year.